The sun beats down on the sparkling blue waters as I follow Julia onto the cruise ship, a colossal vessel that promises a week of idyllic escape. My heart races, not from the climb up the gangway, but from the thrill of starting our life together with this grand adventure. Julia looks radiant, her hair catching the light in golden hues, her hand in mine sending electric pulses of joy through my body. As we step aboard, the crew greets us with smiles and champagne. The grandeur of the ship's atrium, with its soaring glass ceilings and opulent decor, reflects the excitement in Julia's eyes. "Can you believe this, Alex?" she breathes, her gaze sweeping over the lavish surroundings. I can't, but for reasons different than the sheen and shimmer. I'm a simple guy from a small town made good, not used to this kind of luxury. But for Julia, I'd get used to anything. We weave through the crowd, making our way to our suite. Every detail of the room speaks of luxury, from the plush bedding to the private balcony overlooking the ocean. Julia's excitement is palpable, her laughter light and carefree as she explores every corner. "This is going to be the best honeymoon ever," she declares, throwing her arms around me, and I believe her. Our first day is a blur of activities. We explore the ship, dine on gourmet meals, and dance under the stars. Julia is the perfect companion, vivacious and engaging, effortlessly charming everyone we meet. It's easy to fall deeper in love with her in this setting, where every moment feels suspended in a dream. But the night brings a change. As we stroll along the deck, the cool ocean breeze mingling with the warm night air, I excuse myself to fetch us drinks. When I return, Julia is not where I left her. I find her a few decks below, her voice floating up to me before I see her. She's on her phone, her tone hushed and serious, a stark contrast to the laughter I left behind. "I know, it's easier than I thought," she says, and my steps falter. "This idiot doesn't even suspect a thing. I married him for his money, of course. And once we have a child, I'll make sure I squeeze as much out of him as I need." A cold laugh follows, a sound so foreign and chilling that it roots me to the spot. My heart sinks, my hand tightening around the two glasses as a dark realization dawns on me. The woman I married isn't the woman I thought I knew. The glass slips from my numb fingers, shattering on the deck, the sound piercing through the night. Julia turns, her face draining of color when she sees me. The phone call forgotten, she ends it abruptly, her eyes searching mine, trying to gauge how much I've heard. Everything seems to freeze, the cheerful music from the party above now a distant echo. In this moment, my life as I knew it crumbles, leaving a void filled with betrayal and a burning need to uncover the truth. The dream of our perfect life together shatters as effectively as the glass at my feet, the fragments reflecting a deception too painful to grasp. I stand frozen, the broken glass at my feet mirroring the shattered illusion of my marriage. The chill from the ocean breeze can't compare to the cold dread settling in my chest as Julia approaches, her expression shifting from shock to an awkward, forced smile. "Alex, I can explain," she starts, her voice trembling slightly. But the candid joy from earlier is gone, replaced by a calculating coldness that I've never seen before. "It's not what you think. Not what I think." My voice rises, anger threading through my disbelief. "I heard you, Julia. Clear as day. How can it not be what I think?" She reaches out to touch my arm, but I pull away, the distance between us growing more than just physical. "Let's talk inside," she suggests, glancing around nervously as if worried someone might overhear. Inside our suite, the air feels stifling, thick with tension and unspoken accusations. Julia sits on the edge of the bed, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I was joking, Alex. It was a stupid joke to make Melissa laugh. You know how we get sometimes." A joke. The explanation is ludicrous, and yet part of me, a very small part, wants to believe her. Wants to believe that the woman I married is not a stranger. But the pain and betrayal are too raw, the words I overheard too specific. "I need some air," I mutter, turning away from her pleading gaze. My mind races as I walk the decks, the night air doing little to soothe the turmoil inside. With each step I replay her words, the laughter that followed, the way my life seemed to crumble with each syllable. By the time I return to our room, my decision is made. I need the truth, no matter how deep I have to dig. Over the next few days, I watch Julia with a hawk's eye. We continue to partake in cruise activities, a mask of normalcy. But every smile, every touch feels tainted. I start with her phone, a device she guards like a treasure. It's during one of her spa sessions that I finally get the chance to look through it. Her password is her birthday, something I set up for her as a gesture of trust. The irony isn't lost on me. The texts and emails I find are mundane, but it's her recent calls list that catches my attention. Frequent calls to the same number, one not saved under any name. My heart pounds as I jot it down, a lead to follow. Back home, the search intensifies. I contact a private investigator, someone with the skills to trace the number and delve deeper into Julia's life before me. The waiting is agonizing, each day stretching longer than the last, filled with fake smiles and strained conversations. When the investigator finally calls, his voice is grave. "There's a lot here, Alex. Are you sure you want to know everything?" His question hangs heavy in the air, but my resolve doesn't waver. "Yes, everything." The report is damning. Financial transactions stretching back years, all pointing to a pattern of manipulation and deceit. The number belongs to a man named Daniel, someone she's been in contact with even before we met. According to the investigator, he's her ex, and possibly her accomplice in whatever scheme she's planning. I confront her the next day, the printed evidence in hand. Her face goes pale as she reads through the documents, her facade finally crumbling. "Alex, please, let me explain." "No more lies, Julia." My voice is steady, my stance firm. "It's over. I want a divorce." The fallout is messy, emotionally draining, but with each step, each piece of uncovered truth, I feel a semblance of control returning. The divorce proceedings begin, and though Julia tries to fight it with tears and empty promises, the evidence is too compelling. As I sit in the lawyer's office, signing the papers that will finally free me from the web of deceit, I realize this is just the beginning. Julia will not go quietly, but I'm ready. I've seen her true face, and I'll protect myself at all costs. Through it all, I can't help but feel a sense of betrayal so deep it colors every aspect of my life. But there's also relief. Relief that I found out now, before any more damage could be done. As I step out into the fresh air, a free man, I know the road ahead will be tough, but for the first time in a long time, it's a road I choose for myself, armed with the truth and nothing left to hide. As I attempt to maintain a facade of normalcy, my days and nights are consumed with unraveling the intricate web of deceit my wife Julia has woven. Despite the smile I force myself to wear, each laugh and shared moment feels like a betrayal. The sting of her lies fresh in my mind. I continue my covert investigation, desperate to understand how deep her duplicity goes. I start by piecing together her past, searching through old messages, emails, and any records I can discreetly access. It's painstaking work, the emotional toll heavy as each new discovery confirms my worst fears. Her phone, once a treasure trove of our shared memories, now reveals connections and plans made long before we met, each one a knife twist in my already wounded heart. Meanwhile, Julia continues her routine, seemingly oblivious to my internal turmoil. Her days are filled with lunches, shopping trips, and evenings out with friends, her laughter echoing through our home, a sound that now grates rather than soothes. My suspicion grows when I notice withdrawals from our joint accounts, money spent on luxury items, and mysterious transactions that don't add up. The breakthrough comes when I follow her one evening, telling her I'm staying late at work. She drives to a part of town unfamiliar to me, parking outside a sleek modern building. Curiosity piqued, I wait and watch as she meets with a man. Their easy familiarity a punch to my gut. He's tall, with an air of confidence that speaks of long-held secrets shared between them. I snap a few photos, the pieces of the puzzle slowly forming a clearer picture. Confronting her that night leads to more lies, her eyes wide with feigned innocence. "He's just a business partner," she claims, her voice steady. But the photos tell a different story, one of intimate smiles and close proximity. Determined to expose the full extent of her betrayal, I hire a private investigator. The man from the building, Daniel, turns out to be her ex, a detail she conveniently omitted. Their history together is a tangled mess of joint business ventures and questionable financial dealings, some bordering on illegal. As the investigator digs deeper, uncovering the layers of Julia's past relationships and dealings, I grapple with the emotional fallout. Each revelation is a blow to the life I thought we were building together. The man I am becoming through this ordeal is one I barely recognize. Hardened, suspicious, driven by a need for retribution rather than the love that once defined me. The turning point arrives when the investigator uncovers evidence of a planned fraud, involving not just Julia and Daniel, but others deceived by her charm and cunning. They've been manipulating their way through relationships and business deals, with me as their latest target, their plans laid bare in a series of documented emails and illicit transactions. Armed with this evidence, I confront Julia for the final time. The confrontation is explosive, the air charged with anger and betrayal. She tries to deny the accusations, her words a mix of manipulation and desperate pleading, but the evidence is irrefutable, and her facade finally crumbles. "You don't understand, Alex. I did it for us," she claims, tears streaming down her face. But her words are hollow, the trust between us irrevocably broken. I listen, numb, as she tries to justify her actions, painting herself as the victim of circumstances. But the manipulation is too deep, the deceit too profound. The conflict reaches its peak when Julia threatens to drag my name through the mud, warning of the consequences if I take this public. But I'm beyond caring about reputation or social standing. I want justice. I want closure. The next day, I meet with my lawyer, evidence in hand. We lay out a strategy not just for divorce, but for exposing the fraud, ensuring that Julia and her accomplices face the consequences of their actions. The legal battle looms, daunting yet necessary. As I sit in the quiet of my office, the sun setting outside, I realize the person I was before this ordeal is gone. In his place is someone stronger, more resilient, forged in the fire of betrayal and sharpened by the pursuit of truth. My journey isn't just about legal retribution. It's about reclaiming my life and integrity. Despite the chaos, a part of me is grateful for the unveiling of Julia's true nature. Knowing the truth, however painful, gives me the freedom to rebuild, to find a future unmarred by deceit. The road ahead is uncertain, the battle's yet to be fought fierce, but I am ready. Ready to face whatever comes with a clear conscience and a heart no longer susceptible to manipulation. The night before our first court appearance, I look out over the city, the lights below a testament to life's relentless march forward. I know the battle tomorrow will be just the beginning, but I am no longer the man who boarded that cruise ship, blinded by love. I am a man awakened, and I am prepared to fight. The courtroom is charged with tension, each seat filled with an expectant audience. As I take my place beside my lawyer, my hands feel cold, but my resolve is as solid as the evidence stacked before us. Julia sits across the room, her poise as immaculate as her attire, but the slight tremor in her hand betrays her anxiety. The trial begins, and the air seems to thicken with each word spoken. The prosecutor outlines the case, detailing Julia's long history of deception, her financial machinations involving me and others before me. The betrayal I felt is now a public record, laid bare for all to see. The legal details are meticulous, the evidence undeniable. Julia's lawyer attempts to paint her as a misunderstood woman, pushed into financial desperation by circumstances. But the argument rings hollow against the backdrop of her calculated manipulations. I watch her, trying to reconcile the woman I loved with the stranger in the courtroom. Witnesses are called, and the man named Daniel takes the stand. His testimony is damning. Not only does he confirm their past relationship, but he also reveals their plan to exploit me financially. The courtroom murmurs, the shock palpable in the air as he details their schemes. I can feel Julia's gaze on me, heavy with an emotion I can't quite decipher. Regret, perhaps, or defiance. When it's my turn to testify, I stand, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. I recount the moments of discovery, the lies, the confrontation. My words are simple but powerful, the hurt evident, yet overshadowed by the strength I've gained from facing this ordeal. The evidence I present, the photos and documents, speak volumes, and Julia's face pales with each exhibit. The cross-examination tries to shake my testimony, insinuating that my motives are vengeful, that my actions are driven by humiliation rather than justice. But I remain unyielded, my truth unassailable. My testimony concludes with a silent courtroom, the weight of my words settling like dust after a storm. As the trial progresses, more layers of Julia's deceit are uncovered. Financial records, illicit communications, and testimonies from other victims build an overwhelming case against her. The prosecutor is relentless, each point a nail in the coffin of Julia's defense. The climax comes when Julia is asked to take the stand. Her testimony is a performance, tears and tremors included. She pleads ignorance, claims love for me, attempts to portray herself as the victim. But her words falter under the prosecutor's sharp questioning, and her facade crumbles under the evidence presented. It's clear to everyone that her emotions are as manufactured as her lies. The final arguments are a summary of the shattered illusions and legal ramifications. My lawyer's closing statement is poignant, highlighting the need for justice, not only for me, but for all those manipulated by Julia. He speaks of the necessity of integrity in personal and financial dealings, his words a balm to the wounds inflicted by betrayal. When the jury retires to deliberate, the waiting is excruciating. The courthouse corridors echo with the murmur of speculation. I sit, lost in thought, reflecting on the journey that brought me here, the love I had, the pain I endured, and the strength I found. The return of the jury breaks my reverie. As the verdict is read, guilty on all counts, a mix of relief and sadness washes over me. Relief that justice has been served, sadness for the love and dreams irreparably lost. Julia's face is a mask of shock and despair, a stark contrast to the confident demeanor she once wielded like a shield. As the judge pronounces the sentence, the finality of the moment settles in. The sentence is severe, reflecting the gravity of her deceit. As Julia is led away, our eyes meet briefly, a myriad of emotions passing between us, a silent acknowledgement of everything that has been and everything that will never be. The trial may be over, but the scars remain. Yet I feel a profound shift within me. The ordeal has reshaped me, not into someone jaded or broken, but into a man who faced the abyss and emerged with a clearer understanding of himself and the world around him. The court's decision is not just a legal resolution, but a personal catharsis. Stepping out of the courtroom, the sun hits my face, its warmth a stark contrast to the cold procedural lights inside. I take a deep breath, the air tasting of possibility. Though the past can never be undone, the future holds a promise, shaped by lessons learned and justice served. I'm ready to move forward, to rebuild, to find trust and maybe eventually, love again. As I walk down the courthouse steps, each step feels lighter. A journey ended, a new path just beginning. With the trial behind me and justice served, I begin the slow process of rebuilding my life. The echoes of the courtroom still resonate, but they grow fainter each day, replaced by the sounds of a new beginning. My days are no longer consumed by legal strategies or haunted by betrayal. Now I focus on healing and redefining what my future looks like. I start by dealing with the remnants of my past life with Julia. Our home, once a shared sanctuary, feels different now, too large, too full of memories. I decide to sell it, a decision that brings a surprising sense of relief. The process of decluttering the house is therapeutic. Each discarded item a step away from the past and a move towards a fresh start. The market is kind and the house sells quickly. With the proceeds, I purchase a smaller, more manageable place closer to the city's heart. It's a modern loft with expansive windows that bathe the space in natural light and offer a view of the bustling streets below. A stark contrast to the secluded life I led before. As I settle into my new environment, I also take steps to revive my professional life. The trial had taken a toll on my career, but my colleagues and clients receive me with a mixture of sympathy and respect. Their support is crucial, allowing me to rebuild my client base and restore the professional reputation that Julia's schemes had threatened to tarnish. I throw myself into work with a renewed vigor, finding solace in the familiar rhythms of my profession. Personal healing is harder to gauge. The scars from my marriage aren't visible, but they linger. I start seeing a therapist, a decision that takes a lot of pride swallowing. Each session is challenging as I unpack the layers of deception I endured and the impact on my trust and self-worth. However, the process proves invaluable, providing me with tools to understand and manage the feelings of betrayal and anger. As months pass, the sharp edges of my pain dull. The therapy helps, but so does re-engaging with old friends and hobbies. I reconnect with photography, a passion I had set aside during my tumultuous marriage. The weekends find me exploring the city with my camera, capturing moments of everyday life that feel grounding and profoundly real. This creative outlet becomes a vital part of my recovery, helping me see the world and myself in a new light. Socially, I am cautious. The ordeal with Julia makes me wary of new relationships. However, an unexpected friendship develops with Claire, a colleague who had offered discreet support during the trial. Her empathy and understanding make her easy to talk to, and what starts as coffee after work gradually becomes dinners and weekend outings. Claire shows me that trust can be rebuilt, and her steady presence is a comforting contrast to my past experiences. The idea of romance is still complicated. I tread carefully, mindful of my unresolved fears. But with Claire, things feel different. There's an ease and honesty to our interactions that feels both new and deeply familiar. We discuss our past openly, and she shares her own experiences with betrayal, which adds layers of depth to our growing connection. While I'm not fully ready to dive into a new romantic relationship, the door is now open a crack, letting in possibilities I had once sworn off. Financially, I am more secure than ever. The sale of the house and a renewed focus on my career have stabilized my finances. More importantly, I am vigilant. The lessons learned from Julia's deceit prompt me to manage my assets with meticulous care, ensuring that my future is safeguarded against similar threats. As the year closes, I reflect on the journey. The pain of the past is still part of me, but so is the growth. I've come to understand that healing isn't just about moving past grief. It's about embracing the lessons learned and allowing them to shape a better, stronger version of oneself. My new home becomes a symbol of this transformation. I host a small housewarming party, a gathering of close friends and a few new ones, including Claire. The laughter and warmth filling the room are a balm to the lingering shadows of my past. As I look around at the faces, some old, some new, I realize I am not just surviving, I am thriving. The path to resolution hasn't been easy, and the road ahead promises its own challenges, but I face it with a renewed sense of purpose and optimism. I've rebuilt my life from the ground up, finding resilience in my capacity to overcome and to forge genuine connections. This isn't just a new chapter, it's a whole new book. As the dust settles on my past life and the legal battles that came with it, I find myself at a crossroads, both personally and emotionally. The final confrontation with Julia, though legally conclusive, leaves a complex tapestry of feelings that I must now navigate. This last encounter, a mandated mediation to finalize the division of our remaining mutual assets, is tinged with a mix of closure and uncertainty. We meet in a sterile office, a neutral ground that's cold and impersonal, a stark contrast to the heated emotions that simmer beneath the surface. Julia appears different, her usual confidence replaced by a subdued, almost fragile demeanor. As we sit across from each other, the distance is more than just physical. It's a chasm filled with the echoes of our shared past. The mediator, a middle-aged woman with a calm demeanor, facilitates the discussion with efficiency. She's impartial, her voice never rising above a calm, measured tone. As we go through the documents, Julia's eyes meet mine, searching for signs of the love that once was. I keep my gaze steady, my emotions under lock. Alex, Julia starts during a brief pause, her voice a whisper, barely audible. I'm sorry. Her apology hangs in the air, heavy and loaded with an emotion I can no longer decipher. I nod, the acknowledgement costing me more than I expected. Thank you, I reply, the words stiff and formal. The conversation shifts back to the assets. Each item discussed a nail in the coffin of our marriage. The session ends with signatures and handshakes, the finality of the process bringing us sobering relief. As Julia leaves, she turns back momentarily, a silent goodbye that marks the end of our shared journey. I watch her go, the door closing with a quiet click that seems to echo loudly in the empty room. The aftermath of the confrontation is a mix of relief and introspection. The drive home is long, my thoughts swirling with the long-term consequences of what I've endured. The betrayal, the trial, and the final mediation have changed me. I'm harder, more cynical, but also more aware of my vulnerabilities and strengths. As the days turn into weeks, I take stock of my life. The changes are both subtle and significant. I find solace in routines, in the comfort of my work, and in the emerging relationship with Claire. Her support has been a beacon during my darkest times, and our friendship has deepened into something more meaningful. We take it slow, both aware of the scars left by past betrayals. The changes extend to my social life as well. I reconnect with old friends, my circle now smaller but stronger. My priorities have shifted, with a newfound appreciation for authenticity and simplicity. The opulence that once defined my lifestyle with Julia no longer appeals to me. My new apartment, my clothes, even my social outings reflect a more grounded, unpretentious approach. Family becomes more important than ever. My relationships with my parents and siblings, strained during the turmoil of the divorce, begin to heal. They welcome me back with open arms, their support unconditional. We share meals, laughter, and stories, the bonds strengthened through shared adversity. Professionally, I am more driven. The experience has honed my instincts, sharpened my decision-making. I take on challenging projects, pushing my boundaries, the success tasting sweeter because it's achieved on my terms. My colleagues notice the change, my leadership style now marked by a blend of caution and boldness. The emotional journey, however, is the most profound. Therapy continues to be a part of my life, a safe space to explore my feelings and fears. The sessions help me unpack the layers of deception I faced, teaching me to rebuild trust in myself and others. It's a slow process, filled with setbacks and victories, but each step forward is a piece of the puzzle that is my new self. Physically, I invest in my well-being. Regular workouts, a balanced diet, and mindfulness practices become my routine. The physical strength I gain mirrors the emotional resilience I build, each reinforcing the other. As I look to the future, the lessons of the past are clear. Trust, once broken, can be rebuilt, but the foundation is forever changed. I accept that the scars will always be a part of me, but they do not define me. Instead, they are testaments to my capacity to endure and adapt. Starting a new chapter of my life, I am cautiously optimistic. The relationship with Claire offers new hope, a chance to experience love based on mutual respect and understanding. We talk about a future together, our plans tentative but filled with potential. The pain of the past is not forgotten, but it's no longer a shadow that darkens my present. This reckoning, this final understanding of all I've been through, gives me a sense of peace. The journey has been harrowing, marked by deception and legal battles, but it has also been a journey of personal growth and discovery. I am not the same man who married Julia on that sunny afternoon, nor am I the broken man who faced her in court. I am someone new, forged in the fires of adversity, ready to face whatever comes next with a clear eye and a hopeful heart. The closure I achieve is not just legal or financial, it is emotional and personal. It's the closure that comes from knowing I have faced the worst and come out stronger. It's the closure that allows me to close the book on this chapter of my life and start a new one, hopeful and renewed. As I stand on the balcony of my new apartment, looking out over the city skyline, bathed in the soft glow of twilight, the cool breeze feels like a gentle reminder of the changes in my life. The buildings shimmer against the night sky, their lights a testament to the bustling life within and beyond. This scene, once merely a backdrop to my former chaos, now represents the peace I've found. Reflecting on the journey from the devastating revelation of betrayal to the restoration of my life, I grasp the profound transformation I've undergone. The ordeal with Julia, fraught with deception and heartache, was a crucible that reshaped me. I learned the hard lessons of trust and the resilience of the human spirit. Throughout this journey, my understanding of love, both its fragility and its enduring strength, has deepened. With Claire, I've discovered a relationship built not on the precarious sands of illusion, but on the solid ground of mutual respect and shared experiences. Our connection, strengthened by the trials we each faced, promises a future where honesty and trust are the cornerstones. My professional life, too, has seen a rebirth. Freed from the personal turmoil that once clouded my focus, I've achieved successes that seemed unattainable in the darkest days of my past. These achievements are not just financial, but personal milestones that mark my growth as an individual and as a leader in my field. But the path hasn't been without its remnants of the past. There are moments when the shadows of old doubts creep in, a whispered legacy of the lies I once believed. It is in these moments that I rely on the new tools I've gained: self-awareness, the counsel of my therapist, and the support of true friends. These resources form a bulwark against the tide of past fears. Looking ahead, the horizon is bright with potential. Claire and I discuss the possibilities with cautious optimism. We talk of blending our lives more fully, of a home shared by hearts that have known loss but not defeat. We speak of travel, of exploring the world together, each adventure a stitch in the fabric of a new tapestry we are weaving. Yet even as I embrace these plans, I remain vigilant. The pain of the past, though no longer a daily torment, has instilled in me a watchfulness over my emotional and financial well-being. This vigilance is not a burden, but a new facet of my character, a guardian of my future happiness. The possibility of new challenges is ever present. I am aware that life's journey is unpredictable, that the road may twist again under stormy skies. But I am equally confident in my ability to navigate whatever comes. The trials I've endured have equipped me with a resilience and a clarity of purpose that will guide me through future storms. As I turn these thoughts over in my mind, the city below me thrums with life, its rhythms a mirror to my own heart. Once broken, now whole. I am reminded that each ending is merely the precursor to a new beginning. My story, marked by betrayal and healed by truth, continues to unfold. With this newfound peace, I realize that my narrative is not defined by the chapters of deceit, but by my response to them. My life, once overshadowed by betrayal, now shines brightly with promise and possibility. As I look out at the city, its lights flickering like stars in the night, I am reminded of the endless opportunities that lie ahead. This conclusion is not just an end, but a gateway to the next chapter of my life. A chapter filled with hope and guided by the hard-earned wisdom of experience. It is a chapter yet to be written, but one I step into with open eyes and a heart ready to embrace whatever comes with courage and anticipation. Thus, as the night deepens and the city lights blaze their silent vigil, I close the book on this chapter of my life with gratitude for all it has taught me. Tomorrow awaits, bright with the promise of new beginnings and the continued journey of a man who once thought he lost everything, only to find himself in a richer life beyond the pain.